Explanation of the book You Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins, including important stories, in-depth analysis of events, lessons learned, and how to apply them in life. We will divide the explanation into multiple sections, focusing on each part of Goggins' harsh journey and how he was able to transform his life from a broken child to one of the toughest men in the world. The book You Can't Hurt Me is not just an autobiography, but a guide to building an unbreakable mindset. David Goggins, who is known today as one of the strongest men in the world, was not always like that. On the contrary, he grew up in an environment full of violence, poverty, and racism. He suffered from overweight, academic failure, and lack of self-confidence. However, he was able to completely transform his life to become an elite soldier in the U.S. Navy SEAL, an endurance racing champion, and a man who broke records in self-challenge. The main message of the book. The book shows that most people only use 40% of their potential. Goggins believes that we are all capable of great things if we can control our minds and break the boundaries we set for ourselves. He offers mental strategies that help the reader build inner strength to face any challenge in life. Chapter 1. Childhood Hell. 1. Living in Violence and Fear. David Goggins was born in Buffalo, New York, into a home controlled by his abusive father, Trey Goggins. His father owned a nightclub and brutally controlled his family. David and his mother were beaten and humiliated daily. He worked at the nightclub until the late hours of the night while he was still a child, which deprived him of sleep and study. 2. The first escape to freedom. After years of suffering, his mother decided to run away with him to a small town in Indiana. But that was not the end of his problems. Instead of finding a better life, David faced harsh racism at his new school. 3. The trauma of racism and academic failure. David was one of the few black children in his school, and he was constantly taunted. Not only was he bullied, he was academically behind due to learning disabilities, stuttering, and dyslexia. He began to feel less than others, which led him to spiral into depression and loss of confidence. 4. Self-neglect and slow destruction. David began to escape his problems through food. He became obese, which increased his sense of worthlessness. He saw himself as a loser, someone who was unable to achieve anything in life. Chapter 2. Breaking Point and Decision. 1. Life as a pest control worker. After high school, David became a pest control worker, a job he hated. He woke up every day to a miserable reality: overweight, a lost future, and a defeated mindset. 2. The defining moment. An advertisement that changed my life. One day while watching TV, he saw an advertisement for the Navy SEALs. He was deeply moved by the idea that there were men who lived with incredible discipline and strength. He decided to change his life completely, but he faced a huge obstacle. He weighed more than 136 kilograms, while the maximum required for recruitment was 90 kilograms. He had only 3 months to lose 45 kilograms to be eligible to enter the training program. 3. The beginning of the impossible challenge. Goggins realized that he would not succeed if he did not completely change his mindset. And here began the first major lesson in his life. Mental strength trumps any physical obstacle. Chapter 3. The Battle of Mind and Body. 1. Super Training Plan Shoyan. Goggins began with an inhuman training schedule. Wake up at 4 a.m. every day. Long-distance running despite his excess weight. Walking and resistance training for long hours. He completely changed his diet, switching to healthy and strict meals. 2. Breaking mental barriers. Every day was a battle against pain, but he learned a new rule. When the mind thinks you have reached your limits, you have only used 40% of your potential. 3. Passing the first test. After 3 months of full commitment, he managed to lose the extra weight and join the Navy SEALs training program. Chapter 4. Training Hell. A test that humans can't stand. 1. Hell Week. The hardest part of Special Forces training was Hell Week, where he wasn't allowed to sleep for more than 4 hours throughout the week. He had to swim in freezing water for hours on end. He underwent extremely tough physical training, such as running huge distances under extreme psychological pressure. 2. First failure and coming back stronger. On his first attempt, he injured his knee and couldn't continue. But instead of giving up, he went back and retrained completely twice until he finally succeeded. Chapter 5. Challenging the impossible and breaking records. 1. Entering the world of endurance racing. After completing his military service, Goggins decided to test his strength in the toughest races in the world. Participated in Badwater 135, one of the toughest races in the world, and managed to finish it despite suffering a broken foot. Break the record for pull-ups, doing 4,030 pull-ups in 17 hours. 2. The philosophy of turning pain into strength. Whenever Goggins faced a new challenge, he saw pain as a means of growth, not an obstacle. Chapter 6. The rules of mental strength. 1. The 40% rule. When you feel like you've used up all your energy, you've only used 40% of it. 2. The accountability mirror. Write down all your weaknesses in your mirror and confront yourself with them every day. 3. Seek pain instead of avoiding it. Pain is what makes you stronger, so don't run away from it. Use it as a tool for growth. 4. Motivation is not enough. Discipline is everything. Feelings change, but discipline is what keeps you going through the tough days. Conclusion. How to apply Goggins' lessons to your life. You Can't Hurt Me teaches us that true strength lies not in the body, but in the mind. If you want to achieve great goals, you must stop making excuses. Face the pain and discipline yourself to become invincible. You are stronger than you think. Just learn to control your mind. David Goggins.